Okay, so here we are. We have our shot opened in Photoshop, and we're now looking at the Photoshop window. Before we go on, I want to give you a quick tour around this Photoshop window, and that will form this part of the presentation. Across the top, we have the main menu bar. These are the sections we're going to use for the most part to use different functions in the program. Up and down this side, we have what Photoshop calls the toolbar. And as these tools change, this secondary menu will change. You'll see as I get these different tools, then that part changes to give me different functions depending on whatever this tool is doing. Now, in this tool window, you can see that there are little tiny triangles over here on the icons. When I click and hold on those, it opens up other options. So when I get down here to the eyedropper tool, if I click and hold on that, I've got all of these other options for that as well. You really need to look at your books to get a sense of what each of these is, although we'll be using them throughout the course. Over on this side, I have this arranged to suit myself. All of these different windows, I've got a navigator histogram over here. I've got my color swatches, my history. Photoshop will record any number of history steps. It defaults to 20, and that means as we work through it, you'll see these steps go down. Every time we make a move, we'll add to that. We can step back up through it to go back to where we were. Wouldn't it be cool if life had 20 undo history steps to it? Boy, I'd have used mine up years ago. And then down on the bottom, we've got layers, channels, paths. We'll get into that when we start getting into some serious editing. You can adjust all of that over here in the Windows menu. We've got all of these different workspace windows. You can open any or all of these. Some people have these spread all over the screen. A lot of people open and close them. They're just running rampant around the window. Personally, I find that distracting. So I created this particular workspace. Now, on a personal machine, it doesn't much matter. Nobody else uses this computer, so nobody else is going to mess with this workspace. But if they did, on my computer at school, I've created my own workspace called David01. And when I get onto that machine, if some other instructor has been using it and they've rearranged it differently, I can just go down, reset David01, and it's right back to where I want it. So it's nice to save it that way. We're going to be spending a lot of time in this menu, the image menu, especially under the adjustments. Most of the things we'll do in this first section, the basic editing tools we're going to do, are going to be in this part right here in image adjustments. So you're going to become intimately familiar with this part. Okay, and that's pretty much the window that we'll be operating in. I like using this navigator because with that and the slider, I can adjust the size of the print quickly. However, although I can't show it to you this way, you can also use Control and with the numeric keyboard, either plus to get bigger, minus to get smaller, 0 to fill the screen with the image. So this becomes a very handy way to do this. Now, over under file when we're going to save. We've got our save as. I'm going to right away with this do a save as so I can keep this file separate from the others. And I already have a Photoshop Demo 02, so I'm going to use an 03. Now I've saved this as a TIFF file because I tend to bring photos in and out of several different types of photo editing programs, and they will all read a TIFF. But if you were going to keep this strictly in Photoshop, there would be no reason not to save it in this Photoshop format, because it compresses it a little bit. It's a lossless compression. It takes up less space on your drive than a TIFF file does. Like I say, for me, because of the way I work with things, I'm going to keep it as a TIFF file. Okay? Oops, I didn't get it changed, did I? No. 3. And save. Now, you can compress TIFF, but most people don't. And I'm not going to here. I'm just going to let it save as it is. Down here, you can see it saving. And it will show you the state of save that it's doing. When that clears, it's saved and you can go on. So that's pretty much our opening window in Photoshop. I'm going to end this production and we'll come right back here and we'll start actually working on this particular file.